Hello everybody, this is Gemini Jets 1975 coming at you with a new video today. I'm going to be starting a brand new series. It's going to be called Flight Schedule Sunday. The first edition is going to be on American Airlines, and in order to celebrate this grand occasion, haha, funny, I have a special guest with me today. It's Gemini Jets 1400. A grand guest. Say hello, Gemini Jets 1400.
Hello.
And he'll be in the background adding any information. Although probably, have you ever seen a flight schedule before?
Me?
Yeah.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not. Okay. Well, watch this video after I publish it.
Well, obviously.
So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go, guys. So it'll kind of be off the cuff here, but there'll be a little bit of airline history and obviously, you know, showing you timetables of the airline that is being covered. This should be about a weekly affair. So let's get started here. My first American timetable is from November 1st of 1983. It's domestic and international services. London, Hawaii, the Caribbean, Bermuda, and Mexico. So you open these things up, excuse me, and obviously you have tables here that kind of show you the destinations and flights to and or from that destination. So in this particular timetable, this is kind of what I was going to show you. They had American was never really good about putting actual route maps in their timetables, except maybe pre 1978 or so. So after that, they basically put destination maps. So they would show you, and most U.S. airlines did this as well. This isn't just American, but I'll go into that with each airline. You have all the destinations in the U.S. that they served. This was before American Eagle, so obviously there is no American Eagle destinations on here. Served London in the UK, and then there's a few Caribbean destinations that they inherited from, I believe it was Carib Air was the airline that they merged with. And there's terminal maps, and if anyone is familiar with how DFW is now, this is obviously definitely not all of the service that they have. But this right here, the old Terminal 3E, which would be Terminal C now, was their original terminal. So when the airport originally opened, this was the terminal that American used. And then the old Terminal 2E, which that would be, let's see, that would be Terminal A now. That was originally used by everybody other than American, Braniff, and Delta. So obviously at this point, this was probably 2 years after the Braniff bankruptcy. They had already taken over half the terminal. So, and then they had built their little walkway that they made between the two terminals. So American was kind of on the move during this point. This actually, I believe, this is close to when they established the DFW hub. And then right here is the Chicago O'Hare terminal. Nowhere near as big as it is now, obviously. Here's another map of DFW. At this point, okay, this was the Delta terminal here. This right here is the American part of this one. And then the other airlines used mainly this terminal right here. This is the old Braniff terminal. And then right here is, I believe some of them were still using this side of it as well. Or either that, it might have been, no it wasn't, never mind, scratch that. Okay. So, anyways, kind of go through here, just kind of as a quick, from Dallas Fort Worth, or from London actually to Dallas Fort Worth, non-stop. Now, one good thing about some of these, okay, Flight 51, so if you go back to the back, some of the airlines would have an index in the back where you could look up the flight number and see what kind of airplane it was on. Sadly, American did not do that. Delta did, and so did United and several others. And again, I'll probably go over that as I get to each airline. And then the next one we have May 1st. This was actually close to, okay, so here's your terminal maps. This was close to the time when, American Eagle had been established. And they had added, let's see, this was before the Raleigh, okay, so no other hubs have been added. You have London, Paris, Frankfurt, and the same cities down in the Caribbean. So that was a little bit, not too much time between 83 and 86. Things didn't start going crazy for American until 88 or so. So, a little bit thicker, smaller print. Some of these are hard to flip through because the paper is so thin. Okay, so that was 85. This one is December 17th, 1986. This was a Christmas timetable. And they had taken over all of H&K at Chicago O'Hare by this time. And then Nashville had just become a hub recently, so there's a Nashville hub map. And then this is their destination map. So you have added now, you got Manchester, London, Dusseldorf, Frankfurt, Munich, and Paris. And then in the US, several American Eagle destinations. And then out here in California, this was, I believe, the San Jose. Yeah, okay, getting ahead of myself here. Down in Mexico, mainly from DFW, Cancun, Acapulco, Mexico City, Guadalajara. One neat thing about the flight timetables is you can kind of trace an airline's history by way of where they flew through these. Unfortunately, and even if they still do, because I'm not totally sure, U.S. Airlines do not print these anymore and really haven't since 9/11. But a lot of international carriers still do. I think Asia and in Europe, I think a lot of them still do. Correct me if I'm wrong, they may not. But definitely it's been
I've got an idea.
It's been a long time since the U.S. Airlines have printed these. The next one is 1988. This is, American had done a lot of expanding by this time. There was, of course, the DFW hub. They had taken over all of 2E. At Chicago O'Hare, they had taken over part of Concourse G. And you still had Nashville. And then they had added San Juan because the assets of Eastern Airlines had been purchased, the Latin American assets. And then you had San Jose in California and Raleigh-Durham all had become hubs. So the destination map, I don't have the international map because I tore it out, had gotten very, very, very busy by this time. So you had Tokyo service from Dallas Fort Worth with the 747 SP. And then in Europe, Madrid had been added, Geneva. Well, not too much had been added. And then quite a bit here in the Caribbean. Actually, this was before the Eastern assets, actually. I'll take that back, I was wrong. I think that was in 89. It might have been 90. So if you go back here, now by this time they had added the index in the back where you could look up a flight. So say, let's just do this now that we can. And let's see, Dallas, Fort Worth. It's a little bit. Okay, Dallas, Fort Worth to Tokyo, Japan. Flight 61. All flights. Tokyo, Narita. All flights left out of Terminal 2E. That was the international terminal. That was, well, American's international terminal. I should correct that. Flight 61. So if you flip back here to the listings. Okay, and this is very, very small print, guys. Sorry about that. Okay, 61, 74L, DFW Narita, served lunch and dinner. So sometimes you'd have to look up in the front to see if there were any, you know, like if there had to be a slash between them, if one letter meant this is what was served in first class and then the other letter meant what was served in coach, things like that. Because back in this day there was no economy, it was first class and coach, and those terms were definitely used widely. But yeah, 74L, 747 SP. And this right here, for you airline historians, what American was planning on doing in San Jose was they were going to build a fairly decent sized hub. At the time that this timetable was published, they had 86 flights to 20 destinations, and by 1991, which was only going to be in 3 years, they were going to serve 175 daily flights to 52 cities, including New York and Honolulu. So that obviously did not happen. But next we have, right here, we have a 1995 timetable. Now this was definitely after the Eastern asset purchase. But I don't have a route map because I tore it out and did a lot of things with it. In 1996, 97, this is another Christmas issue. I believe I still have the map. Well, I probably don't either. But, excuse me. Okay. But they did serve, oh, there's also seat maps in the backs of these. And it's kind of interesting information, but seat maps and terminal maps. So, now during the 90s, okay, we have American was quite large, US, Canada extensively. By this time, by 1997, Nashville and Raleigh-Durham both had been shut down as hubs. Interestingly though, they opened up Raleigh-Durham to London route during the time that the hub was there, but they kept it even after the hub shut down, and their operation was able to handle. There was a subsidy for quite a while, but the subsidy has stopped, and they have, you know, kept the route going. So you have extensive services through Latin America, the Caribbean, Mexico, and then Europe, Middle East through code share partners, Africa rather, and then token presence in the Asia and Pacific. Interestingly, they are still trying to build their service in that part of the world. But if you look at this one, here's a good, actually this one does have a map, so just to show you. Here's the extensive, during the days of the San Juan hub, huge services throughout the Caribbean. There's the Bahamas, and of course you have the United States, a little bit up in Canada, and if you turn the page over, anything with a circle is an American Airlines destination, and anything with a square is going to be code share. So this has definitely changed even since the time that this was published, but this is very representative of what was going on. So the UK kind of has a blown up portion here. There's London, Birmingham, Manchester, and Glasgow. But Belfast, Edinburgh, those Leeds and Bradford were not served. So that is during the 1990s, the late 1990s of that. And then I have another one from 1997 too, but that really hasn't changed. Now this may actually be the last timetable that American Airlines ever published. It was published July 2nd, 2001, roughly 2 short months before 9/11. This was right after the acquisition of TWA, which, looking back on it, probably wasn't the smartest thing in the world to do, but, you know, things happen. So, this includes all TWA services operated at the time, plus American. So, you don't, you know, definitely have your terminal maps. DFW, they had started taking over. This was after the terminal renaming. And then here is London Gatwick, because Heathrow was not widely served except by American and United. Right here, Los Angeles, Miami, and their terminal. They are not in that terminal anymore. It's interesting. I think this is before they built the new one. And then New York JFK, San Jose, San Juan, and then New York LaGuardia. But yeah. Then here's your. These were interesting because, you know, you could kind of look to see what the seating arrangements were on the different aircraft that you would be flying. They still flew the Airbus A300s extensively to the Caribbean. The Fokker 100 extensively on short-haul domestic. When the Fokker 100 was retired, Americans sent many flights over to American Eagle because they no longer had a plane small enough to operate those routes. Now they would probably use the A319. It may even be too big for some of them, but DFW, Corpus Christi was well, I didn't really fly it a lot on American, but since I lived down there, that was the way I got to Dallas. And this was on it quite a while, but once that plane was retired, they didn't really have anything for it anymore, so it went to American Eagle. 727s, they were just introducing the 738, so if you are on some very old 738s, then it could have been from this time period. 752s, 762s, 763s, 777-200, and then of course the famous MD-11 and the Super 80. Gotta love that. And then some of your American Eagle aircraft. This was before they flew the CRJs, so you had the ERJ 35 and 135, 145. That was American Eagle's aircraft of choice. They liked Embraers, not Canadairs. Bombardier, excuse me. It was Canadair at the time, but now it's Bombardier. And then the Saab 340, of course, and your wonderful ATRs that could not be used in cold weather, so they had to switch them over to Miami and use them in the Caribbean. But there's a lot of mumbo jumbo information. Of course, before, you know, back when you had flight timetables, they were useful because you didn't have the internet to be able to go on, make a reservation, look up a flight, or visit any number of websites that you could think of. So this was either you had to call the airline, go down to their ticket office, or heaven forbid actually go to the airport, or you had a timetable and had to do it there. So anyway, guys, this video has taken me forever. I want to thank Gemini Jets 1400. His ears are probably bleeding from boredom. Thank you very much.
No, it's great.
And then, of course, Citrus Aviation. Anything you wanted to add, William? I'm sorry, Gemini Jets 1400.
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. So, anyways, guys, I'm going to end this now before I, bore anybody else. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Also, if you have lasted this long, let me know what you think of this series. I may not want to know, but I kind of do. So, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video.